Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. This segment's brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done and published to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. This is a series of spotlights on remarkable exit planning advisors from across the country. And joining me on this segment is Milan Hanson with Hanson Legal. Milan, welcome to the program.
Great. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about your work and specifically let us know who are the types of clients that you specialize in working with.
Well, for a long time, I was a real estate and business litigator. And so often when I would see bad partnerships or yeah, I mean, everybody's always so focused on, making their first $1 million. They want to go, go, go. And sometimes money changes people and it changes your relationships. And sometimes I have just seen these situations that end up in a litigation. Trust is lost. I mean, it'd be like having a business partner is almost like it's getting married. But usually at the beginning of the marriage, everybody is kind of in their honeymoon phase and they aren't thinking about the next steps. But maybe it's a couple years down the road, you feel like, oh, wait, I'm doing all the work. Somebody else isn't pulling their weight. Hey, removing a person as an owner is a very, very difficult deal. I mean, because they already have this ownership interest. So after just a slew of big, big business litigation cases between owners, and it just sometimes it gets so emotional because your business is your life. You're so wrapped up in it and you put so much of your trust in the people that are around you. You sometimes have these friendships that have probably built to up even before the business, and then at some point you're losing them. You're losing your relationships over money. And I've seen this with my own father. He was an attorney in Southern Oregon for over 40 years. And some of his best clients, he did some very, very big development projects on. And those were his best friends. My father's only getting older. And when the last real estate collapse happened in around 2008, I saw my father lose a lot of his friends. And he's getting older. He's not making new friends. He's lost a significant part of his social life that he had over money. And so many people just don't think about, hey, how can we actually, like, sometimes thinking about exit planning, how are you going to get out of your business, but also how are you going to keep or repair the relationships that you already have there. I have shifted a lot from being a litigator because I love the law, but litigation, the weird thing is that it almost doesn't feel economical all the time. I'm sometimes wondering, like, what's the value that I'm building for the client? And, oh, hey, we're going to take all this money. We're going to prepare, go after the bad guy. The bad guy was your friend just a year ago. And are they really that bad? But hey, wait, there's money in question. We're trying to get it back, or we're trying to make an exit, forced exit, corporate takeovers kind of stuff. And it just is, it ends in this really bad scenario where sometimes we're spending more money than I feel like the business is really making. I had one client come in here and he had a big business like in Florida making little widgets. And he lost that first one with his business partners. They ended up in litigation, and he said he paid his Florida attorneys, these dream team, $1 million in legal fees just to try to get back his business from his business partners. Ended up losing that. And I said, wait a second, he was almost bragging to me that he spent $1 million in litigation fees with his business partners. And I was like, you know what? If you would have just spent a little bit more money on the upfront costs of just taking a look and really negotiating your deal and really hashing that out, almost kind of like couples therapy at the beginning of the relationship. But then I feel like it starts to settle in it. You negotiate it a little bit more, but you're on a little bit more solid footing. It's like, wait, this is what I do. This is what you do. This is what we expect. Because so often we feel like we're communicating our expectations but we're really telling ourselves a story or building ourselves up, and expectations are the enemy of human happiness. If we expect something, regardless of whether somebody said it or whether we just kind of assume that we can expect it, that expectation might not be grounded in reality. So just coming a little bit away from the litigation, which I'm always like, wait, is like, I love business, but I'm like, where's the economics of litigation? The law doesn't follow that in all the time. And I've gone from heavy litigation into, wait a second, the ounce of prevention is worth that pound of the cure. If we can get people thinking more about their relationships and setting up better contracts, setting up better things ahead of time, hopefully we avert a disaster that then never comes. And of course, people don't, you don't appreciate an averted disaster that never happened because you don't see anything that happened. But so often there are these, I'll call them like legal time bombs. People get away, they say, hey, things are fine right now. Nothing's happened. Maybe you get away for a year, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years. But sometimes just because something's quiet doesn't mean that it won't blow up at some point. And if it is, and it wasn't negotiated or you didn't anticipate it, it's very hard to negotiate after the fact. I just spend a lot more time with business owners right at the beginning to help get them to understand their partnership agreements. How are they going to get out of the business, come up with an exit plan? They're so involved sometimes with making money, reinvesting that business, but they're also sometimes there's this entrepreneurial like poverty. Sometimes you're so much feeding so much money back into your business that you're not feeding yourself. You're not putting something away for retirement. You keep saying, well, when I'll talk to the lawyers, I'll negotiate that when, that somewhere around the bend when all of a sudden my business blows up and now I'll have the money or time to negotiate this stuff. But that waiting around that business bend for your big breakthrough, those don't happen. Those usually come with like the years and years and years of hard work, and you're already getting into your habits. You're already getting into your relationships are settling. And by then it's almost too late because now you have the money and now you've actually painted a target on your back that now there's something that you have actually to lose. So waiting for that moment, oh, I'll get around to it when, I see that mentality not really work out in a lot of my business clients' favors. Just doubling down on the prevention and putting things in place, especially as I have young business owners that, yeah, they know that they're bootstrapped. They know that they don't have all the resources they need to get the legal, to get all the perfect accounting, to get a perfect contract for everything. They're running fast and loose, and good thing too, because they do need to keep their company alive. But then I find out that, hey, now they've made $1 million, 2, 3, 4, 5, but they're still operating under the same way of thinking that they did, like scarcity mindset that they did right from the beginning. And at some point, they have to make a successful transition in their own mind of, oh wait, I'm now I'm bigger. I can't tell myself that I'm not gonna buy that insurance, or I'm not gonna do these. I'm not gonna go hash it out with my partners to figure out what we're all really doing and are we all back on track. Sometimes we, just as humans, when we know that there's a problem, sometimes we just avoid it even for years.
So you mentioned a forced event or an unexpected event that might cause this, trigger. So when is the best time to do exit planning? It's almost a misnomer because it doesn't sound like you should wait till you're exiting to get this in order.
No, that's where you suddenly the realization hits. I want to either leave, I want to sell, I want to get out for some reason. Some of those triggering events, sometimes it's a divorce, sometimes it's not, your business partner marriage, it's your marriage in real life, or it's a health situation. I had another contractor who was well on their way to having a couple $1 million gross revenue years and was just about to break through. And then his son passed away, a minor son. And that him and his wife were in grieving for about 6 months. And during that time, he'd let everything go, let all his contracts go. And now all of a sudden he was in a tailspin, and it wasn't necessarily these triggering events. They just happen because life keeps happening. Life is there. Sometimes it's the danger comes from going within your company, but we often neglect our personal lives, our personal relationships, and that also these things have a big effect on us. And sometimes that's the triggering event. That's like where we get the wake up call. Oh, wait, what is this business going to do if I'm not there? Talking about exit planning from the beginning and being aware of it, because that is something that even no matter what happens, as long as the more education you get about the exit plan, the more you're able to deal with that hard circumstance. I'm like, wait, no, I have a plan for this. There is an escape clause. Oh, I can get out. Oh, I can sell it over here because we've already lined up the financing.
Before I ask you my last question, is there anything I didn't think to ask you that you feel is really important to share with business owners considering exiting now or in the near future?
The one there, sometimes people are aware that they need better contracts. They need to be thinking about the finance of getting out. The one thing I really encourage a lot of business owners to get is just a basic estate planning. Basic estate planning to think about, and that is the exit, because sometimes in exit planning we think in an estate plan we think, oh, what's going to happen to me when I pass away? And even though realistically, hey, you could be in your 50s, you could have 30 years, 30 plus, who knows how long you're actually going to live, but just going through that process of considering your own mortality. And some people think, yeah, I have a lot of business owners that think like considering estate planning is actually going to, maybe it's hastening, maybe it's an uncomfortable thought, but it's actually a really great thought experiment for exit planning, because it brings up that question very bluntly: what's going to happen to your company if you're not there? And it may be an unlikely scenario, but because we bring that up, then it actually brings up all the other things that we want to talk about in exit. How are you going to sell your business? What's it going to be valued at?
For business owners listening who'd like to speak with you, how do they find you, connect with you, and learn more?
Well, I have hansonlegal.com. That's Hanson Hanson, HANSON .legal. I put out several webinars a month. I try to put out as much free material as I can out there. A lot of people are researching. They want to sometimes feel out an attorney or talk to someone, or just basically just get the ropes of what the law might be and start to feel comfortable with someone. I put out a lot of free material just so people can do their homework. Everybody wants to do their homework and get a little bit and understand it a little bit more. But then sitting down more in a one-to-one and applying it to them, that's some of the next steps. But I want people to feel really comfortable with me before they even get there.
This has been terrific. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Great. Thank you, Mark.
That was Milan Hanson. He's with Hanson Legal, and this segment was brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done and published to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.